African cichlids. I've made a lot of videos of African cichlids. I have a playlist on African cichlids. Some of my most watched videos on this channel are African cichlids, and maybe a lot of you came to watch my videos because of all of my African cichlid content. I've been keeping African cichlids for many, many years, going back probably over 20 years ago now. So anyway, I actually made some videos in the past that are still quite popular that I'm not particularly proud of, mostly because my opinions have changed. So today I'm going to kind of share with you why my opinions changed and admit that I was wrong. Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Zenzo from Tazawa Tanks. So yes, I have to admit that I was wrong. I was wrong in the assumption that everybody can take care of African cichlids the same way that maybe an experienced fish keeper could do. And I was also wrong in giving some advice about how many African cichlids I feel should be kept in an aquarium. So one of my most popular videos is about how many African cichlids you can keep in a medium-sized tank. I think it was years ago. People still watch it. People still comment on it. People are watching it every week. And a lot of the information in there is okay, but I feel like I need to kind of update the record, for the record, and give my more recent opinions on stocking in African cichlids. Now, when it comes to stocking, a lot of people that keep African cichlids have learned that overstocking is something that can be very beneficial. Overstocking means having just way it sounds, lots of fish in an aquarium to make it very crowded. So as you can see, this aquarium behind me, this is really not that overstocked. It's heavily stocked, but it's not overstocked anymore. It's a 5-foot tank. This is a custom 90-gallon acrylic tank. It's 5 feet long. It goes all the way back behind here. So there's quite a bit of surface area and swimming area for fish in here. In the past, I kind of gave a rule where you would take like the gallons of water that you had and subtract 10 and divide it in half, and that would be about the number of fish that you could keep. And while that might be true, what I didn't share with you, or maybe I wasn't clear enough, is that it can be very, very difficult to keep fish that way. So as an example, I am a very experienced fish keeper. I don't want to say I'm an expert or anything like that, but I am a very experienced fish keeper. I've been keeping fish for a long, long time. I've been breeding fish for a long time. I used to breed and sell African cichlids, as a lot of you may know. In fact, most of these fish in this aquarium were fish that I bred myself. This tank had 12 more full-grown males in there 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So there were 12 more full-sized 5.5, 6-inch peacocks in this very aquarium. The only difference is the rocks weren't in there, so everything else was the same. The filtration was the same. It was fine. I was able to manage it. Obviously, when you looked at the video, you could see that it was overstocked. But I never had any issues with water quality or water parameters because I was on top of the maintenance. I was doing 75, 80% water changes about every 4 days or so. It was a lot of work, but I would do it to ensure that the fish were safe, that the water quality was still good for the fish in here, and I didn't have any problems like that. I didn't have aggression issues either because it was so overcrowded. There wasn't really a chance for anyone to get picked on and to be bullied. But I don't really feel that that's really good advice for a lot of people. I feel like if you are really into African cichlids, you already know what you can do. You know that you can pack 35, 40 fish in this aquarium and do water changes every 2 or 3, 4 days and manage it. But the average person is not going to want to do a 75% water change on a 90-gallon, 100-gallon, 125-gallon tank all the time, every 3 or 4 days. And I just don't think it's practical, and I don't think it's necessary. So even though this does look pretty crowded, there's 12 less fish in here. So they're all swimming right here right now because they think I'm going to feed, but I'm not going to feed right now, obviously. But anyway, there are a dozen less fish in there. So my point is I would say my new advice on stocking for African cichlids is just to have enough to curb aggression. So if you were having a 55-gallon aquarium and you were going to do a Mbuna in there, my advice would be probably to have around 10 or 12. And maybe that's about it. Maybe you could do a couple more, but I would kind of stay more on that lower end side and just let things kind of settle, see how the fish behave. Maybe you don't have to overstock. Maybe you do have enough cover and hiding places. If you had a 75-gallon aquarium and you were doing like peacocks as an example, in the past I might have said, you can put 18, 20, 22 in there, no problem. Yeah, there would be problems. There'd be problems because you'd be doing maintenance all the time and you'd either have buckets and splashing water or whatever the issue is. It's a lot of work. My advice would be to go, again, on that lower end side and maybe like 12 to 14 or so tops. You could do more, but again, my advice has changed. So in the past, I would have said 18, 20, 22. Yeah, no problem. Easy. You can do it. I can do it. Reality is I don't think that people should be stocking the fish that much anymore. It's too much. So my new advice, for the record, is keep as few as possible to still have a relatively large stock in there to curb aggression. So what that means is you don't want to have 3 of them in there because one is going to pick on the other 2. It's very easy to see those other 2, target them, attack them, beat them up, put them in a corner, kill them, whatever. If you have 10 fish in here, that one fish is going to have a harder time targeting and finding that one fish to bully that fish. If you had 15 in here, you have even better chances. But once you get, 25, 30, 40, you start having all those other issues with waste and, ammonia buildup and nitrates and things like that. So anyway, just a short little video that I wanted to share with you. I did pull out all those fish. I actually gave them away to a friend of mine that I met through cars because we're both into cars, Porsches, BMW, stuff like that. He has fish tanks. He has a 180, a 125. I forgot. He's got a few tanks at home. He's super into fish. And he wanted some peacocks for his 180, I think. And so I caught him a dozen, some good-looking OBs and some red shoulders and stuff like that. And he came up and just picked them up for free. And so he got 12 beautiful peacocks, and I was able to thin out this aquarium to a more manageable load. Now, because I have to do maintenance in other tanks, I'm still going to do very frequent water changes. Maybe instead of doing 75% water changes every 4 days, maybe I'll do 50% every 5 days or something like that, or 75 gallons every 5 days or something. So I'll still do large and frequent water changes, but it's a lot less of a headache for me to have less fish in here. If I do happen to skip a couple days and it goes to 7 days, it's not that big of a deal. And I still have plenty of fish in there to curb aggression. So anyway, hopefully for you guys it looks good. I actually like it better, a little bit less stocked with the rocks that I have in here now. Even though peacocks are open water swimmers, I did want to have a little bit of decor in there because I didn't like the bare look. I wanted to hide some of the equipment and also kind of break up the look of the blue background. So I kind of tucked the rocks around in areas that still look aesthetically pleasing, but aren't really in the way of fish swimming around. So anyway, comment down below what you think of the new tank. It's not a new tank, but how it looks now compared to how it looked before. And then also please comment down below your thoughts on my new thoughts on stocking African cichlids. As before I would say overstock, now I would say moderately stocked. So anyway, that's all I had for now. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.